Okay, so this week we've had a lot of suggestions and requests for USA horse racing trading strategies on Betfair Exchange. And things, basically examples of US horse racing trades. So that's exactly what we're going to give you in this video. I'm going to show you what the US horse racing is about, the problems with it, the things that you can do with it, the possible potential that's available for US horse racing trading, and we'll do that via two races, one after the other. First one being race one here at Will Rogers Downs, and the next one being at Tampa Bay. We're going to break the recordings up into two recordings, so the second race will be uploaded a day or so later. If you want to catch that as it happens, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell below this video. Failing that, it will be in the end screen of this video if it's already been up a day or so. So what have we got? Will Rogers Downs. It's a popular racetrack in the States, as is Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is probably the most popular. There's a lot lower liquidity in comparison to the UK horse racing. Obviously UK horse racing has a lot more opportunity to it, a lot more possibility, and that's why I predominantly target those horse racing markets. The more the money's turned over, the more opportunity there is to make a profit. It's that simple. So this isn't going to be as profitable as you would see in a UK horse race, but right now that's all we've got. So I'm just highlighting race one, Will Rogers Downs. £8,000 has been matched on this market at this point in time, which is really not a lot. It's like tracing a greyhounds race in the UK. So the live video is the next most important element to share with you. So I'm highlighting two things on the screen there. It's race one at Will Rogers Downs, and there's 11 MTP on the screen. Now MTP stands for minutes to post. So you can see on the screen we've got the countdown timer to the official race time start, but the horse racing in the US is different to UK in the sense that the start times often move a little bit side to side. So you really need to be using the Betfair live video in order to track that MTP figure, and keep an eye on what's happening at the track as they load into the stalls, etc, etc. Now the other thing to bear in mind with the US horse racing streams, and by the way the streams are free to watch, you don't actually have to place a bet to watch the streams on Betfair, but there are significant delays sometimes, so you may find that the video is out by 20 seconds or so. So you need to give yourself a bigger section of time where you can allow yourself some safe space before the race starts, is what I'm trying to say. So you don't want to be watching the video, trading all the way up until the last two horses are going in the stalls to avoid going in play. You probably want to stop doing that before they've got like 5 horses or 6 horses or 7 horses going into the stalls. So with the US racing, live coverage really is that important. Now the next thing to mention, which you'll see in the second video as well, the second race which will follow this one, is understanding what's happening in the market is completely important too. So all prices, as with any Betfair Exchange market, be it horse racing, football, whatever, prices are inversely proportionate to each other, meaning if one goes down, one has to go up, or if one goes down, two have to go up, and vice versa. So I'm looking at the exchange ladder here now for the racing market, and we can see that there's a little bit of money flowing into the market. We've now got £11,000 match, a little bit more than that previous 8,000, but I'm more interested in the dark bars on the ladders, because that is the immediate volume flowing into the market. So just checking the live feed there as well, which is another important thing to mention, is as the coverage on the screen starts to pick up, you'll notice that the trading activity and the volumes pouring into the market increase also. So I've laid the favourite there because it's appearing to start what looks like an early drift in the market. I highlighted the traded volume figures. You can see the third favourite has taken a little bit of back money, and as the live coverage has started to pick up, the whole market has started to pick up, and we've caught that quite early. So I've got on the lay side of the favourite as it started to drift. The third is coming in, but I'm not going to trade too many at the same time here. For small £10 a click stakes, we're currently on for £22.38 on the favourite on that drift, and I'm going to look at hedging up now and getting out, because that little snap drift that seems to have come from that immediate opportunity in the market there has come into a little bit more of a halt. I'm now questioning also whether this third is stalling, and it could be a slight overreaction within the market, which is why I put this lay position in the market here also. Now the problem with US racing, and it is, it's the undeniable fact. It's the same problem that we face with poor quality Irish horse racing, with trading the greyhounds. It's the volume that flows through the market, and how popular it is, if you like, because if there's not traded volume, it becomes a lot harder to get your bets matched. We like to offer prices in the market. We don't want to take the current traded price, at those little touch prices where they meet up in the market. So we need to offer our bets outside of the traded, is what I'm trying to say, and we want to get them filled, because each time we do that, we benefit an additional tick. Whether it's we're opening a position or we're closing a position, we're getting an extra tick by offering a price. That's potentially two ticks every trade. Now the second favourite, it's in the second favourites ladder now, but it is the third favourite. Price action stalled, and I've realised that's a mistake. So I'm just going to close it out nice and quick. So I'm going to close out for a couple of pence, but on the other hand, I let it run a little bit further, and we've got £4 profit. Nothing to get too excited about there, £4, which is also a large factor in why I don't really see these markets as that interesting on a personal level. They're great for learning from, they're great to practice in, and they're great to use for sort of £10 stakes, £20 stakes. You may even find the opportunity where you can get on for 50, 100, 200. It'll be very rare. When you do find those opportunities, you need to be very confident in there actually being a move, because if not, you're going to chase your what was once a good position away from yourself. And that's because of the poor liquidity within the markets and the low levels of amount of money that is being matched. So over on the left there, we can see 4:30 down to the start of the race now. It's getting a little bit closer and the market is becoming more active. The MTP has actually changed a little bit at this point in time, so we're a little bit further away from post than we thought we were at 4 minutes, and I'm just sort of tracking the market. Now when there's nothing to do, the answer is simple: do nothing, because I think also people find this inclination to over trade in the market. They feel like they have to be active all the time, and it's just a reality right now that there is not really a huge amount happening in this market. The prices are flatlining, there's nothing that's heavily biased as such. Maybe the third favourite looks like it could be building up a little bit of momentum and money being traded in the market there, but there's nothing to get excited about. Thus there is no reason to open a trade or expose ourselves to any kind of risk without having a good opinion in the market. So that's why I'm doing nothing, and that is a large part of trading. People come into this and they want to have a bet, they want to have a trade, they want to make some money, which is brilliant, but you've got to sit like a sniper, I think has been used in the past as an analogy. You've got to sit there, pick your opportunities, and then pick them off one by one, and a very large important sector of your trading is sitting there and doing nothing. So back to the race. 3 minutes to the start now, and we're getting a bit closer. As the market gets close to the start, there'll be more activity, which means that there's more to trade in the market, so hopefully we'll see some more opportunities. Favourite has stalled a little, it's coming back in. On the chart, I'm just highlighting the yellow line there, so you can see an outsider. We'll put that in the fourth ladder. You can see an outsider is coming a little bit, so there's been a little bit of favourable money coming in for that one. No obvious reasons as to why that would be, but it's worth tracking within the market, obviously. And once more, there's a couple more quid matched on this third favourite, or the third ladder. Now I find this interesting because if a horse has been backed previously, then it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be backed all the way into the start of the race. But on the other hand, if a horse has taken a little bit of money and then the price drifts out, whether it's because the market's thin, because something else is being backed, whatever's happening in that market, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's now a donkey and it's not going to be backed again. So I'm looking for confirming signals, which is why I've opened this, it's only, £30 stake in the market, that is going to carry on being backed. And look, there you go, a little bit more of a flurry in the market. Now I didn't know for certain that was going to happen. I just put myself in a position where there's a little bit more bias for a very short space of time in the market, and I sat there and I waited it to take me. So based on the fact that I thought, previously there's been a flurry of money, it's gone back out a little bit erratic, maybe it's overreacted and gone back out further than it needed to be, given the nature of this market, extremely thin and poor. Then it would only take a little bit more money to tip it back into where it previously was. We all know that whatever market it is, based on human psychology, it's easier for a price to go back where it previously was, because people are naturally comfortable with that in the market. So just looking for that confirmation, That's just what I wanted to highlight there. Stakes are the biggest problem in this situation because of the amount of money that's flowing through the market. So we've got to a whopping £5.38 profit. We've taken very little risk to do that, admittedly, but quite honestly, it's just not really worth my time to sit and trade many US horse racing markets like this. So this is purely just for you guys on YouTube to show you a bit of opportunity with horse racing and the kind of strategy you should be using to trade these US horse racing markets. Now we've reached that awkward stage in a market where there's not really a lot happening, and I'm feeling quite indecisive about this. There's a little bit more money turning over because we're close to the start, so I'm just going to look at scalping out a couple of ticks. And in fact, that reminds me, just this week we've added 10 new videos to the scalping module or the video pack course, and there's plans to add maybe another 10 or so as well. So they're a lot more progressive, there's a lot more step-by-step explanations. Obviously with UK racing, where there's a lot more money on offer, and it's, you know, that's where the real value's at. But in this period of time, it's okay to try a bit of scalping on the US horse racing too. You just want to do it on very, very low stakes. So at the moment, I'm sat outside the prices. It's come down to the official post time right now, and we know that the race is going to go off a later minute or so. So I'm just going to see if I can pick up a few more pence in terms of a tick here, a tick there. It's not going to blow your mind in terms of profit in the bank. So it's pretty much most of the profit that we're going to have on this race sewn up there. But I'm going to offer these prices outside the market. As money flows into the market, you see those sporadic spikes. We want to get a favourable fill and then sell it back to the market for a very small amount of profit. So where's the best place to do that? We'll probably go with the favourite. It looks like a little bit of bias and in terms of back money coming in for the favourite right now. So we'll sit on the back side of the book, and at this point in time I don't think there's really that much chance of getting them back stakes matched. But if we do, then we're going to be able to get a lay stake back in the market, and that's more likely to get filled quicker just before the start of this race. Not going to do it for too large a stakes, like I say, because I don't want to get caught overexposed in the market. So that's a very simple way to approach the US horse racing. We'll now do the next race at Tampa Bay following this one. You can see the horses are going into the stalls, and like I said about that 20-30 second delay on the live stream sometimes, I don't want to risk it. And that's a total of a whopping £5.72 profit on this market. Not a huge amount, but like I say, make sure you watch the next race in the end screen, subscribe to the channel, and please give this video a like if you found it interesting or useful whilst you're sat around learning about trading the markets.